These ice packs on your, for me it was my back because I had such back problems, you know, so, alright. Okay, so when we left off, it was kind of like practice, see if you even know what the heck hunger feels like.
Right.
The other part is when you do eat, how to, you know, recognize when to stop. So you're preventing excessive eating, which ultimately, if you have an eating disorder or emotional issue with eating and control, preventing excessive eating is a huge part of preventing the need to compensate, the exercise or purging in some form. So how'd it go?
Well, to begin with, I was depressed.
I know. Let me shut this.
Okay.
That was well, because you basically came in here and I went.
Yeah.
You're gonna listen to me.
My husband loved hearing about it. He's like, who is this woman?
Who just tells you the way she
knows you. She knows you. I'm like, well, I think we have a lot in common. But it was hard because I was supposed to do a 50-mile run last Sunday, and when I left here, I posted to all my running friends, I'm not doing the 50-mile run.
You actually posted it.
I actually posted that I was, and that I dropped out of the race and that I'm not going to race.
Holy crap. That was a big deal.
It was a big deal.
Because you had to commit to it. That, I bet you right before you sent it, you were like, ugh. Yeah. Do I really? Because once you say it, you're kind of held accountable to it, at least from the outside.
Yeah. So
I'm really proud of you. Because that's a big deal.
Thanks. And so now I'm even debating about this Sunday. That text was somebody wants to run, and I don't want to.
Okay. Oh my gosh, this is such a big deal. Because once you kind of like got over the decision, aren't you just kind of like, oh.
I'm tired, and I don't want to be tired anymore, and that feels more draining. I'm looking to feel revitalized and to feel better and to stop using food to try to feel better. Because what I realized going through the practice eating too is that I did really good, and then last night it was like, okay, tomorrow is going to be a new phase or whatever. So I went ahead and I ate whatever I wanted last night. I overate. I woke up in the middle of the night with my upset indigestion, and today I feel I feel icky again today, and I was feeling pretty good, but I did have pretty low blood sugar yesterday. I'm pretty sure. You know, the
energy and shaky and headachy, kind of like postural, kind of
no
slumping.
Energy. Yeah.
That's what you did is like the drug addict showing up to the rehab center wasted. Yeah. Yep. That's what I did. Absolutely. I know, and it's kind of funny because we judge all that. Like, they're so fucked up. And then people come, because we don't judge food so badly as we do something like a narcotic or any, you know, food addiction is like the most welcomed addiction. Because we all, for the most part, the majority of everybody in our country has one. Yeah. Which is just so sad.
Well, I witness it all the time.
Oh, I know. And, you know, how often do you have people show up to train and they're like, you know what, I just had a really bad weekend, and they excuse their addiction as if,
hear that all
if you heard someone with alcohol say that, they would be so self-conscious that they'd look like an alcoholic, they wouldn't tell you. But with food, it's almost like people just expect that you're going to go, oh yeah, that's a great reason to binge. You had a bad weekend. Yeah. Right? Yeah. Anyhow, wow, this was a big week for you. So without training on Saturday, how did that feel? Did you have anxiety, irritability? Did your husband stay away?
Felt really good. No. We did things together.
Took a moment of like sadness?
I had a lot of sadness those first 3 days after I saw you, because I felt like my identity was stripped too.
Yeah, I'm really good at that. But you know, it's not that it's stripped, it's like it's just made obvious when you can kind of crack open the shell that you put around yourself and go, oh, this is really fake. And you probably never thought of yourself as fake.
No, and I also realized how much I did get from saying I'm doing a 100-mile race, the kudos and all of that.
Wow, you must be superhuman. Right. Oh my God,
how can you do that? Yeah. So I got a lot of recognition from that, So it was just a real eye-opening week. Everything, all the changes, definitely.
Well, everything you're saying, and I was so nervous coming in today because I thought I didn't. When people come in here, I assume because the HCG protocol is so severe that they're kind of at a bottom. And, in your circumstance, because when you, and tell me if I'm wrong, when you came in, you were thinking in terms of training improvements and in reducing body fat to improve the whole training atmosphere. And I literally came in and I came in pretty harsh. I have the video, I was watching it, and I did come at you like there was hardly any cushion and everything. Wouldn't you agree? It was like pretty much.
What's interesting about you saying that, though, is that that's what I need. And my husband said that too. You need somebody like her to tell you the truth instead of these people that walk around and candy coat things and, oh, it's okay, honey, and that. And I don't respond well in that type of, I need this. I need somebody to kick my butt and tell me, because I'm always the one that's strong, and we talked about that too.
Oh, yeah. And you can help other people, but then it's like me. It's like I wish I had someone that could look from down on top and go, oh, Robin, you need to see this from a different angle.
Mm-hmm. Oh. Absolutely.
And I've gotten really good at that for myself and teaching my kids how to look at things differently. But you're right. It's good to have someone, because especially if you're struggling, you don't want someone to enable that.
Right.
Especially if you know you're running into a wall.
Yeah, and it can't be my husband.
No, never. No, that'll never work out. And same with my husband.
Tell him to shut up.
Pretty much. You don't know shit. Even though he knows a lot more than me. I know. But yeah, the hard part when I really work in with someone is if you're really not ready to give up that addiction. Everything that I say is pretty much. You've got that shell and it's going to go ping, ping, ping. It's not going to soak through. And so I'm really happy because it sounds like you've hit the bottom. Mm-hmm. And which is a very exciting place and scary place to be. Mm-hmm. Because, really, this is the best starting place. We're kind of stripping the bias down. If you're biased in any way to protect your low self-worth and how little you feel of your identity, you're going to continue to create an identity created off of low self-worth. And we want to start from who are you separate from the soul. Yesterday I wrote a blog about addiction, and it was about the fact that you're born so innate to your own soul. You're not biased yet until someone says, you know what, you're not okay until you get approval. Mm-hmm. And so you start to then seek outward approval, and that you literally ignore the soul, the self, the essence of kind of your being, and what makes you so unique and different than everybody else. You forget about that, and you've ignored it ever since. Yeah. And what we're trying to do is say, hey, you know what? Everything that you were taught, is wrong. Most of the people around you who taught you this had their own major issues themselves. So how could they have taught you to feel good about yourself with nothing? And we got to get you back to being that child again. Being that. It's really just like I said. It's like we got to start over. Before you knew there was something wrong, because there was a moment you knew it, or you felt vulnerable to it. Does that make sense? And so you may not even recognize that because it's been you've never had it. Right. So the neat part about it is if none of it's still occurring, first of all, but the other part is if you were to kind of start over, if that didn't define you, if you didn't define yourself by all of that history, well, then who are you without it? Right. That's the bottom we're talking about. That's super exciting because it's almost like you don't have to even consider your past. Your past becomes this piece of lint. Whereas before it was this heavy cover. You couldn't breathe. You couldn't see outside of it. You're constantly, all the decisions you made were to compensate for feeling as small as you were. And without it, then it's like you're actually looking and turning into the soul with nothing. So who are you without, you know, the husband, the children, the running, the identity, what you do, who is that person? Who is that soul authentically?
Yeah.
It's just a beautiful place to start. So I think the with this protocol, and like I said with the last video, it's like in our last session, you are highly, highly susceptible to fat gain right now, more than the normal person, unfortunately. But with this protocol, I think what we can do is stabilize your body hormonally, so you don't have those that huge swing that you're would have experienced if you just stopped training.
Yeah.
You understand that?
Yeah.
So this is
I thought for sure this week I would lose weight too, based on my eating, and nope.
Yeah. You have
didn't happen. I'm like, wow, I'm really messed up.
Yeah, and it's all, you know, your body's trying to compensate. You know, starvation through exercise, starvation, it's, you know, that's the issue, really. You kind of set your hormonal system down too far to compensate for all of the excessive flux that you get from that kind of flagellation with the body with exercise. And it's amazing, you know, that you got to have that experience too, firsthand, you know, what it's like. So yeah, we're going to protect you a little bit from that reaction, but like I said, this is like do-over. If you could start over again, we're starting from the bottom. What you know today and how things have turned out, if we could do things a little different, same life, same husband, same career, you know, how would you do things from the middle? And you may not know that, but you're going to find out, because that's the goal. It's not to be an extremist. It's not to say, fuck it, we're going to leave, we're going to divorce, no, that's not it.
Yeah.
It's where can you be more powerful, not only for yourself, but for helping other people, which I get that you love to do. That's authentic.
Yep.
So, but let's start. We have to start with yourself first. So this is kind of like a vision quest, really. You know.
Yeah.
To just
one I've been on for a while.
Actually. And now we're.
I mean, if you would have met me 12 years ago, I'm not even the same person. You know. So.
You feel like you're closer than you've ever been.
Yeah.
So this was really the last strip.
Kind of the last piece. Yep. Absolutely.
Oh my God, I'm so grateful. You're allowing me to be a part of this.
Well, I think you're the right person to help me through.
As you know, I'll bitch type you. Don't start talking that way, because you're going, you know, I got to keep you focused a little bit, because you'll always go back to what's comfortable.
Right.
Because it's not comfortable. And what I'm basically saying is, hey, you need to go into this submissive and understand that it's going to feel really cold, damp, dreary, dark, and scary. And you have to just decide that that's better than what you had. That's the only way out is the scary way. And submit to that fear, be okay with it, welcome it. And you'd be amazed that just by welcoming fear, that's like emotional weightlifting.
Yeah. I'm open to it.
Yeah.
I'm ready.
I'm excited. So overall, you're not quite sure what hunger feels like. You had a hard time differentiating, like just feeling low blood glucose with hunger.
Yeah. Yeah. Even like right now, I think I'm hungry. You know, I've got that
gutty feeling.
Yeah, but sometimes I think it's, so I think I'm hungry right now, but I'm not sure if I went like overboard. That's always my deal.
Or when you do eat, if you eat too much?
No.
Or if you waited too long?
If I waited too long, if I'm not eating enough at each meal, you know, I'd eat enough to feel it. So, you know, I tried to pay attention to the descriptions in here, what, you know, the hunger scale and the fullness scale. And
well, the hardest thing to understand is the difference between gut and urgency. You know, the sense of urgency that comes from the brain. I always, and that's what I talk about in here is sense of urgency.
Yeah.
Now the feelings of fullness are more, that is definitely physical versus brain.
Okay.
Like the distension, the feeling of the stomach, the acid reflux. Those are definitely tangible physical sensations.
Yeah.
Where true hunger is something that's more a sense of urgency. It comes in a time constraint. Like if I don't eat in the next 5 minutes, I feel like something impending, something dangerous is impending.
Mm-hmm.
Where you're like, it's urgent, it's immediate, and your brain will focus on it. Very different from emotional, which is constantly justifying and rationalizing why you deserve it, how you've earned it. That's very different from, and desire or cravings. That's different too. Did you notice cravings? Like
some. I was able to push through that. I really focused on food not being good or bad, just is.
Awesome. How was that?
Well, it was hard the first 3 days. When that automatic behavior of having food for comfort, for texture, for taste, if I just kept going back to that's not why I eat, then I was okay. The first 3 days were really hard. It got easier after that. And then last night, like I said, I just wanted to. It was that sense of entitlement and.
Well, I'm about to give it up, so I might as well just showing up at the rehab center and wasted. Okay, so here's one more question.
Yeah.
How was your exercise since I saw you last?
Well, I haven't been exercising. I did do.
Oh my God, I'm just so happy to hear that. And that's another reason why you're feeling the depression too, because you're not getting that. So you're actually getting biochemical stuff. That would say you're totally hormonally depressed.
So Tuesday, Thursday, and Saturday I lead the run club. So I did, I've been doing really short stuff. Like on Tuesday this week though, all I did was walk with the walkers instead of running. And that ended up being like 2 3/4 miles.
Yeah, nothing. Basically activity.
Run, on Saturday. I don't think I've done, I can't even remember.
How's bloating? How's your...
Oh, that's interesting too. I have some bloating. I'm like,
sorry. I'm just like, this is amazing.
Food allergies, I was thinking maybe.
It's the lack of the exercise. I mean, your body's reacting like an anorexic does when they start eating. Oh. That's why I'm just like, la 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 la, this is like a science project.
I kept reminding myself of that too. Science project. It
is a science project, but that's the coolest part is you're living the reaction of what happens when you overreach, overtrain. All of it, that bloating, that's why I asked. I'm like, she's bloated, she has to be.
Yeah.
Because your body's now trying to, it's preparing itself for your next 50-mile run.
Right. Yeah, I try to explain that to people too. Because I did recognize that in my exercise. I'm always heavier a couple days before and the day after, typically. And I know that that's my body preparing for those long runs. And I try to explain that to people. They're like, really? Yeah, that's what happens.
It's amazing. So, I am just so fascinated with the human body. So, that'll pass. We're gonna basically get rid of a lot of things for you with this protocol. So I'm excited to get you started pretty quick. So that we can kind of get you stable right away.
Yeah.
Because you're gonna start noticing if you were to gain like 15-20 pounds, how would that feel?
Ugh. No, thank you.
I know. Even though I'd love that to happen, so you have to deal with detaching your soul from the body, which is really what needs to happen. That's the bottom, which is your value isn't defined by body fat and how you look and your fitness. That is the test, wouldn't you agree?
Yeah.
So on some level, we're enabling a little of this. But the goal is that you just go right into the do-over, that you don't have to it's like some people who listen to my story go, well, I don't need to get to the point of suicide. And I'm like, well, no. That's obviously what we don't want you to get to, but you have
to hit a bottom.
You need to be vulnerable enough that you'd be okay with your worst nightmare occurring because you're living a nightmare anyways. So you might as well, to get out of the psychological mess, you'd much rather be obese. That makes sense? Than to continue to perpetuate some of this.
if you told me that's what I needed to do to feel better, I would do it.
Yeah, that's why I know you're at the bottom. Because that's what I'm telling you. It's like some of it is like just trusting. But you are going to get some of that when we transition you off the first phase into second phase. When we go back into reality of it all, you're going to get exposed to that vulnerability.
Okay. Because
you have to eat more. You have to eat. And we're going to strategically go into eating a lot more fat right off the bat.
Okay.
So we're talking obviously healthy, you know, coconut oil, olive oil, avocado, you know, and then getting into like butter, bacon, pork, meat, you know what I mean? Just where it's much more fatty, so that you can learn how your science experience, learn how your body reacts hormonally to fat.
Okay.
See the strategy involved?
Yeah.
So we got to prepare you for that.
Okay.
So second phase, just keep that in the foresight that we've got to prepare you to
not going to think about it. I want to think about it.
Well, that's the goal in mind. So you need to understand that goal in mind is to get you to be prepared for when you step off the first phase of this protocol into a lot of vulnerability.
Okay.
And to be very trusting of your hunger. So the first phase of this protocol, which includes the very low calorie portion of it, is not to isolate you and protect you from the gluttony we live in. It's to get you to focus all of your efforts on memorizing your own body's signal of hunger and satiation. That you can memorize your body's own intrinsic system that will tell you when and how much to eat.
Mm-hmm.
That you don't have to count calories, grams, that you don't need serving sizes, that you can be fed anything in the world, travel anywhere all over the world, and you will use that as a guide to know when and how much. Doesn't that just sound freaking amazing?
Yes.
And it actually exists. It exists for you right now, but we've got to get you to learn it before we can throw you out to the wolves. Does that make sense?
Yep.
So that is your number one goal on first phase. I don't give a shit how much your body fat goes down. I really don't care. Mm-hmm. Because if you don't learn to listen to your body, you're going to be vulnerable to gain all. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
So, and this is your ticket out of needing to compensate with exercise too. Because if you can eat within that range, and you don't have the vulnerability of fat gain, you're not going to have the compensation of exercise. You won't have that pendulum swing from one opposite side to the other.
Yeah.
So you'll stay centered and balanced. Oh, doesn't that just sound so freeing? It's like being a kid.
Yeah.
So we are trying to prepare you to be able to use that sense of hunger and to be able to eat in a totally different way. Be able to eat anything you need and want and what you're given without feeling vulnerable. Obviously, there's intelligence involved with the food you eat and your body's reaction to certain foods, and you may have some intolerance, but that's something we need to learn after you learn the foundation of why you need to eat, which is hormonally.
Mm-hmm.
So that's a whole new concept too. Have you ever thought that your need for food is not based on nutrition?
Mm-mm.
That comes second. We've put so much of our education with food on nutrition that it's really made us fat.
Mm-hmm.
Which sounds so, it's like, look at the food guide pyramid.
I can see that.
The food guide plate now. It's just crazy. But yeah, nutritionally, that's secondary to hormonal. Hunger is not nutrition. It is hormonal. So we need to start with that and then develop from there. So
Okay.
I'm going to turn this off. Any questions, any concerns overall? Because you've read the...
Just time concern, because I have an appointment at...
Oh, this is
10.
This is quick and easy. So we'll be done in 15, 20 minutes.
Okay.
Real quick, did you read Weight Loss Apocalypse?
I've read some of it.
The beginning of it.
Yeah.
Awesome. And you've read, obviously, the workbook.
Yeah.
Okay, perfect.
And I've done some work in there, so.
Oh, good. So how was the questionnaire in the workbook? Did it open your eyes a little bit to understanding some of the behavior?
Mm-hmm.
Some of it you'll be like, no. Oh, yes.
Yep.
Parts of this I am. Yeah, and that's why I did that, so that people can really observe themselves.
The questions, yeah.
Just an observation, and to get your mind ready for, we need to get to, we just want to be functional. When you look at how we talk about the human body in terms of function and alignment, that's what we're trying to do with food. It just needs to be functional. So, anyhow, this is really exciting. All right.